Yeah, it's that time. Yes, time to make a change. We count it all joy that you are here with us today on Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. So much to cover today, per usual. We are on assignment. Doc, Dr. Anahita West sent us that clip of the Palestinian poet Mozab. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his first name correctly, and he responded to some criticism, some mischaracterization of what he had to say about an Israeli hostage. And he asked a very important question, which we wrestle with on a regular basis on Truth Time. Why are our sufferings not acknowledged? And when he says "our," he means the suffering of Palestinian people equal to the suffering of innocent Israelis. That is a very important question. And if people listen to his answer, that commentator was not listening to anything he had to say. She was so fixated on asking him a question that had nothing to do with how he answered it. She totally disregarded what he had to say. So we're going to get into that. And then yesterday we talked a little bit about we might want to dip back in on how President Trump and his administration are expanding a global white supremacist agenda. A lot of people are outcrying about that. We know that the Episcopal Church leaders have said we don't want no parts of this of the relocation program with refugees because you guys are being unfair. But now more and more people, Doc, are coming into the knowledge of what President Trump is doing with the Afrikaners from South Africa of Dutch descent. As you talked about yesterday, 4% owning 70% of the land, et cetera, et cetera. Is he really expanding a global white supremacist agenda? And now we are 40 years later from the 1985 Move bombing, and it's being remembered by the city council in Philadelphia as 40 years to reflect on what government did to those people. This is deep, Doc. Before we get into any of that, the doctor's in the house. Everybody wants to know what's on your heart, your soul, and your mind on this day.
Well, I must say, when I Move dropping the bomb, I think of Pam Africa, I think of Ramona Africa, I think of John Africa. Tavis has just had Mark Africa Jr. on. And of course, Mumi Abu Jamal, one of the great public intellectuals of our day. And what is it that they have been wrestling with? Precisely what you have just said. The ways in which the vicious legacy of white supremacy has attempted to devalue and degrade black people here in America, anti-black racism, but also anti-Palestinian racism. And the two more and more go hand in hand. Now, we've said over and over again, and I think it's very important that we're against all forms of racism. It could be racism against Dalits. It could be racism against Roma. It could be racism against Jews. It could be racism against indigenous peoples. Racism is evil in all of its forms, but the thicker form that take institutional and structural form that result in occupations, that result in systems of domination, are very much at work in the United States and very much at work in Gaza and the West Bank. And so when Anahita sent that slice that talked about the questions raised to the Palestinian brothers whose film just won a major award, and he's trying to get people to understand. He's lost 31 members of his family. To understand he's been attacked and almost killed, and yet they're sitting there almost sobbing when you talk about Israeli hostages. Nothing wrong with sobbing for Israeli hostages. They are human beings like everybody else. But
Yeah.
those are the only sobs and the only tears that people are willing to publicly talk about, and they can't even say a mumbling word about 20,000 Palestinian children killed in a matter of months. It just shows how deep the anti-Palestinian racism really cuts. And the same would be true in terms of black people who are thoroughly degraded and demeaned, and yet we are pushed against the wall because we don't have enough sensitivity for white farmers. 49 of them who arrived, who received red carpet treatment, who the deputy Homeland Security officials show up, deputy State Department officials show up for embrace, and yet Haitian immigrants, and yet immigrants from Sudan can't get here, and yet brown immigrants are demonized and vilified day in and day out. You can see the depths and thickness of legacies of white supremacy here. We have to simply call it for what it is.
We do, Doc. Amen to all of that. And this is about unbridled power. This is, whoever said power corrupts absolutely was absolutely correct. And this is about power. So when people want to say reverse discrimination or reverse racism, it's about the power to be able to do that systemically. We need people to understand that, Doc, Black people in the United States of America do not have that kind of power to deny somebody life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Hello, that's the core message. Just keep it simple in terms of institutionalized racism and white supremacy and the power it holds to disrupt, corrupt lives. So we're not talking about somebody being somebody not liking somebody on a personal level. We're talking about an entire system that was designed to treat Black people as subhuman. And so until Black people get that kind of power, we can change systems like that of somebody's whole destiny. That is why we cannot be racist. I tell you, I got to argue with people about that all the time. When we come forward, Dr. West and I will continue this robust conversation. You are listening to Truth Time.
Speaking truth to power and to the powerless. This is Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to join the Children, Youth, and Family Collaborative, CYFC, for their 25th annual Foster Youth Awareness Walk on Saturday, May 17th at 8 a.m. at Susan Miller Dorsey High School, 3537 Farmdale Avenue in Los Angeles. This community-centered event brings together advocates, supporters, and youth to raise awareness and resources for foster care programs in the greater Los Angeles area. Please register at Eventbrite CYFC 25th Anniversary Walk. Congratulations to the Children, Youth, and Family Collaborative on their 25th annual Foster Youth Awareness Walk. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You really about to do it?
40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than the music.
You really about to do it?
Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence.
Who among us doesn't like Black music? But Kendrick is right. This moment is so much bigger than music. These are serious times. We've got serious problems, and we need serious people who understand that slogans are not solutions. When you want substantial and sober analysis about things that matter to you and the ones you love, this is where you turn. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
To thine own self be true. More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner coming your way right now on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, indeed. So that the poet, I mean, I was really into what he had to say, and he was so matter of fact in his comments, and you could see he was exacerbated by having to constantly justify and answer these questions. He really pushed back on anybody saying that he did not care what happened to innocent Israelis. He said, absolutely not. What happened to, the one young lady in question, she is indeed is a hostage. I just want Palestinians to be called hostages too, and not, what are they calling them? Prisoners, not being called prisoners. Yeah, you need to exalt the suffering of both people. And he asked a very fair question that was never ever is not being answered right now. But certainly the commentator on that show, the host, she was in La La Land. I mean, she never did really listen. So it's one thing to hear somebody, it's another thing to listen to what they're saying.
And part of it is that when your framework is so dogmatic and it's so in place that, for example, when people think of terrorists, they think of Palestinians as terrorists. Now, the innocent person is murder. There's no doubt about that. And I think that's wrong. But it's impossible for her to think of Israelis as terrorists. They could kill 20,000 babies, but no, they're not terrorists. They're just defending themselves. But Palestinians are terrorists when they fight back. You say, no, every baby got the same value, no matter who they are. If you're killing babies, that's terrorists. Same is true in America. You see, we could kill 3 million Vietnamese, and we never think of American terrorists. Or we can commit genocide against indigenous peoples. We never think of American terrorists. But you see how quick Trump can jump and say the white Afrikaner farmers are experiencing genocide. He can't say that about Sudan. He can't say that about Palestinians in Gaza. No, not at all. But those farmers are being attacked in a genocidal way. Why? Because his framework is just, Trump's framework is just, beneath mediocrity. It's just gangster. We've talked about that week after week on this show. But the same is true for so much of the mainstream media. No matter what color the mainstream media is, you got black, white, red, or yellow. They can't talk about Gaza's genocide. No, they can't talk about the Israeli army as terrorists and killing babies. No, not at all. Because the framework that's in place is so narrow and is so skewed by anti-black, anti-Palestinian racism that black lives and Palestinian lives just don't mean that much, if anything at all. That's just a fact. And we have to come to terms with that fact. And we have to fight that kind of racism.
As painful as it is, these are the facts. And this country, a lot of people, regardless of background, just don't want to come to grips with those facts. It's painful for us to say this. We don't want to have to say this, but this is the truth. And so while President Trump is a modern day manifestation of the white supremacist truth, but he's not the only one. He's that, the fox and the wolf that we always lift up from Minister Malcolm, because it doesn't get no more clearer than that. He is the wolf version of it. But we had many foxes well before he took the White House, for sure. And the Biden administration bears a ton of the brunt for President Donald J. Trump to continue on the course of what is happening to our Palestinian sisters and brothers. Because most of those deaths so far, we not nowhere close near the 4 years of the Trump administration. So most of those killings, the genocide of Palestinians in Gaza, happened at the hand of President Joseph R. Biden to this point. Now, 2 years from now, who knows? I hope the killing and the suffering stops. But most of it, as of today, right now, happened under President Biden, who ignored international law, and who ignored our own laws right here in the United States of America when it comes to how we utilize our money and our resources, when a foreign government that we're providing weapons to are blocking aid and so on to innocent civilians. Doc, we got rules that a lot of Americans don't even know about because the mainstream media doesn't talk about the Foreign Assistance Act 620I. Go look it up. Or the Leahy Act, which tells us as a nation how we are supposed to comport ourselves when X conditions exist. That's one. And then two, all the so-called great powers of the world have an agreement on how countries should comport themselves when X is happening.
That's real. That's real. And the Western press has been silent about it. They don't want to tell the truth, not just mainstream US press, mainstream British press, mainstream French press, mainstream German press, mainstream Spanish press. Now you get some highly progressive press. I mean, LA progressive, right in Los Angeles, would tell the truth about it.
We tell the truth on KBLA.
Talk. Diamond and on that Tavis would tell the truth. Amy Goodman would tell the truth.
Yes.
But mainstream press, and of course the mainstream politicians, no matter what color. Because when you talk about Biden, you also talk about Sister Harris.
Yes.
She wouldn't call it a genocide.
Yes,
She
sir.
against humanity. Why? Well, because she's on the Democratic Party plantation, and then when the boss say you can't use that language, they ain't gonna use that language. Same is true with Jeffries. We can go right down the line.
Yeah.
Right line. They don't want to tell the truth. These truths are too painful. That's what got Martin King in trouble. That's what got Malcolm in trouble. That's what got Fannie Lou Hamer in trouble. That's what got Stokely Carmichael in trouble. Well, we got to get in trouble because we're going to tell some painful truths. Not because we are gleeful about it. We're not delighted about it. We just have to tell the truth if we're going to intervene to stop it.
Yeah, we don't want any of this to be true.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I mean, but it is. Even that Congressional Progressive Caucus is useless. I mean, you have some members that will speak out. I mean, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib seems to be all by herself right now, unfortunately. You know, Congresswoman Bush did speak out very strongly. One of the reasons why she lost her seat. The same with Congressman Bowman, too. So we have Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib almost by herself.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad. But we've got to continually raise our voices to the best of our ability to be morally consistent, as we've always tried to be, not in the spirit of self-righteousness, but in the spirit of honesty and candor and integrity. That's what is crucial. And that means then we got to have critique of systems, the point you made before, of institutions and structures and so forth. That becomes very, very important. And it means, of course, that you end up being critical of so many accommodating elites in Africa who are willing to adjust themselves to U.S. imperial power or Chinese imperial power, depends on where it comes. It can come in a number of different forms.
That's right. And these systems are not immutable. I mean, they can change and they should change. And we call ourselves civilized. We might as well not call ourselves civilized. It ain't civilized to watch that kind of debauchery go on. It's not civilized to watch babies over here go hungry. It's not. I mean, they're cutting Medicaid right now. You know, this ain't civilized behavior. Right here in my hometown of Cleveland, the biggest hospital in Greater Cleveland. Greater Cleveland is very blessed to have three, you know, very strong hospitals in the person, you know, Cleveland Clinic, University Hospitals, and Metro or County Hospital. But Doc, just today, the Cleveland Clinic done put out that you got to pay your copay at the point of service. And if you don't, then you're going to have to reschedule. Like, what? And Cleveland Clinic is a worldwide medical institution labeled as a nonprofit, but multi-millions of dollars. Okay, multi-millions of dollars. The lifespan of folks who live near that hospital is shorter than some of the lifespan of folks who live in suburban communities in Cleveland by well over a decade or two, Doc. And we got the Cleveland Clinic right here, and they got the pure unadulterated gall to put out that if you can't pay your copay at the time of service, not billing people, not giving them an opportunity, if you cannot pay for it starting June 1st, just say you didn't get the memo and you come in there and you can't pay for it, they're going to force you to reschedule.
No matter how sick you are.
I won't say no matter how sick. If you go to the emergency, if it's an emergency, it's different. And if it's a surgery, it's different. So, got it? Good. But don't do that on regular basic services when you know people are suffering anyway with these copays, these deductibles. It just don't make sense. And they are multi-millions, Doc. They probably in the billions. Institution that even has a foundation attached to it. And you're going to say this Cleveland is the second poorest city in the United States of America. The Cleveland Clinic is a world-renowned hospital that decided to make this rule. See, the power's in their hands. This ain't got nothing to do with Trump. This don't have anything to do with anybody but those in the Cleveland Clinic. They made this decision. They can unmake this decision.
But that's capitalism. That's what that is. That's money making, profit taking, people's needs, secondary, tertiary. And I know it reminds me of Baltimore. Baltimore's got one of the finest hospitals there. Johns Hopkins, right in one of the poorest Black communities in America, too.
Yes.
My brothers and sisters in Los Angeles, I'm sure you see the pattern.
That's it. So they starting with these institutions today. Who will it be tomorrow? And when we think about the collapse of hospitals across, over the last 2-3 decades, we can't leave out our rural sisters and brothers and family and friends. In some cases, there are no hospitals for miles because we have commodified healthcare in the United States of America, where profit is king and queen.
Profit is king, queen, prince, and in the driver's seat, in the saddle. That's spiritually sick. There's no other language for it.
No other language. And Doc, again, it's important for people to process. We are a hegemon nation. That's number one. If we were a poorer nation, then we could have the debate. I would still say that the basic needs of clean air, clean food, clean water, and medical care should be something that is met as a public good. As a public good, government should be making sure that the air, the water, and the food is clean and that people have access to healthcare. We are not just access, that they have healthcare as a public good. We are a hegemonic nation, number one. And number two, we are the only industrialized nation on the face of the earth that does not have some form of universal healthcare, to the extent 68,000 people die every single year because they don't have health care. And then millions, top of millions of people are underinsured, meaning they can't pay the copay, the deductibles, or the premiums. And then insurance companies get to dictate to your doctor and your nurse what they're going to allow you to have and not have.
It's a shame. It's a shame. But we're living at a moment in a decaying U.S. empire where shamelessness is becoming hegemonic. Personal behavior, but you see it in the businesses too. You see it in more and more institutions and structures. People just have no shame at all. Did I do it? Yeah, I did it. I ain't taking no responsibility because I don't have to worry about no consequence.
No consequences and no repercussions, as Eddie Murphy's character in Life. There should be some consequences and repercussions. He's gonna make sure it was some if his cornbread was taken, but we can't make sure that there are consequences and repercussions for doing people like this. You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. When we come forward, we're gonna continue this conversation.
The truth will set you free, but first it might raise your blood pressure.
I'm not driving you, man.
More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams is launching a new office to fight anti-Semitism as hate crimes against Jewish New Yorkers rise.
They would not have to hesitate to enter the subway system should they take off their yarmulke. They should not worry about wearing their Star of David. They should not be worried that someone is lurking at a synagogue.
The office will monitor court cases, advise on policies, and make sure city agencies address all forms of anti-Semitism. Testimony has resumed in Sean Diddy Combs' sex crimes trial in New York. His ex, Cassie Ventura, told the jury he abused her during their 10-year relationship. Jurors also saw 2016 footage of Combs assaulting her in a hotel hallway. And a new UC Berkeley poll shows Black Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass's approval has dropped since 2022. Only Black voters and seniors still view her mostly positively. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
Love you. Love you.
Providence Health System, Southern California's largest and most comprehensive healthcare network, is dedicated to community partnerships that educate, build trust, inspire hope, and improve outcomes. Their vision of health for a better world is supported by their commitment to health equity, community engagement, and building alliances with grassroots organizations like the NAACP award-winning Amazing Grace Conservatory. Amazing Grace Conservatory is dedicated to empowering youth through the arts, providing a nurturing environment that fosters emotional and physical health. Providence is a proud sponsor of their dynamic production of the electrifying musical Fame 25. This performance features unforgettable songs and exhilarating dance numbers while exploring social themes, resilience, determination, self-discovery, and authenticity. Don't miss Fame 25, coming May 18th to the Nate Holden Performing Arts Center. For tickets and information, visit amazinggraceconservatory.org.
When the flames subside, who ensures that the stories endure? At KBLA Talk 1580, we're committed to preserving the voices that shape our community. We know people have short memories, and as long as this Black Talk radio station is on the air, we will not let Altadena be forgotten. We are honored to announce that the Altadena Historical Society will officially archive our recent town hall alongside every episode of Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr. This is the show of record, the definitive source for tracking Altadena's roots, resilience, recovery, and reunion. These stories will now live on for students, scholars, researchers, and journalists seeking truth and legacy in the months and years to come. Because history isn't just made, it's honored, it's recorded, and it's passed forward. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black. This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
Yes, you are. And yes, we are. So, Doc, what we do around this time is go and check on what's happening in the tube, on the tube. And we got a lot of conversation going back and forth. We got Daniel Samir Kryren. Good afternoon, Senator Turner. Good afternoon, Dr. West. Good afternoon, KBLA family. And then Brother Daniel has Dr. West and Senator Turner. He has a question for us, Doc. Dr. West and Senator Turner, do you see any ways to garner the cultural power that Black people have within the USA into systemic power to move the country into a more pro-Black territory?
Well, I appreciate that question. I know a lot of people preoccupied with Brother Diddy's trial, and Sister Cassie on the witness stand laying out what's been going on. And I must say, you see, we've got to counter whatever is in place at the moment with legacy memories and unbelievable witnesses of the Nina Simones and the Gil Scott Herons and the Curtis Mayfields and the Aretha Franklins and the Kendrick Lamars, which is, and the Erykah Badu's, which is to say, we have tremendous Black genius. We have tremendous Black excellence. You think of Ren Brown and his work at the theater, the Ebony Theater there in Los Angeles for all of these years. But we don't have enough resources, so it's difficult to have the kind of broad institutional capacity. And so Diddy and so forth can project various images that are not true to what the best of our Black artists have done. Now, all human beings are cracked. I mean, Diddy's cracked, he's flawed, Cassie's flawed and cracked, but look like Diddy's much more cracked than some of the others, but we all flawed human beings.
Yes.
But it's got to be accountable for their actions, no doubt about that. But we can't become too preoccupied with the negative images and downplay those artists, those churches, those mosques, those black synagogues, those black Buddhist temples and ashrams, like to think of Alice Coltrane there with her ashram right there in north of LA. See, these are positive uses of art connected to struggle for freedom.
Yeah.
And zero in on that tradition and not become so preoccupied with all of this superficial activity that is oftentimes highlighted, both linked to the Diddy trial, but linked to a whole host of other examples as well.
Yeah, so right, Doc. And let's see, I'm skipping down. We got Brother Morris Phillips in the house per usual. Good afternoon, Dr. Weston and Turner. Thank you for your courage. We got B Bell of Bad Dog Bullies. Good afternoon, my people. When it comes to African Americans, they want us to move on and let the past be the past. That's like telling the bill collectors to let go of the past. The bill is overdue. Oh, B Bell of Bad Dog Bullies be coming up with some good ones. Oh, B Bell, we love you.
Pay your bill, time to pay your bill. Hey, past don't mean nothing to me.
Past is the past.
Go forward.
Oh my God, loving it, B Bell. Coming in with just that kind of B Bell's retorts kind of remind me of how grandmas, it's a lesson in that they crafty, they make you think when they answer the question. And that's what B Bell reminds me of, either a wise grandmother or wise grandfather in terms of that. We have Brother Terrence Allen Duncan. Good afternoon, leaders. ADOS Advocacy Foundation has a Black agenda with a reparative justice claim. From you all's vantage point, how can we push that through?
Well, we definitely got to fight for reparations, but we got to do it, of course, in such a way that we sustain all of the rich moral content and spiritual substance of our Black freedom movement. And therefore, we got to come up with strategies. We got to come up with tactics. We got to come up with not just one organization, but organizations linked to other organizations that are fundamentally committed to justice for Black people, and reparations is a commitment for justice for Black people.
That's it. And I would just add to that the ADOS Foundation, big ups to them, Sister Yvette and the entire team, the members. Y'all just keep doing what you're doing. No matter what everybody else is doing, they got to keep working that thing, Doc, because the appointed time, the right time is going to come around at some point, but they're tilling the soil, just as so many others who were fighting for reparations for the descendants of enslaved people have. And even if we look at Black Wall Street, I think there's only one survivor left, Doc, that's in their hundreds. And I remember when those elders went, it was 3 of them, all over 100. There's one survivor left. I'll have to look up her name. But the fact that even in that situation where you have the embodiment of what happened in Tulsa in recent times, like in 20th century times, and they are still alive, and yet you could not get the United States Congress or even Tulsa, where they are, to say that they are entitled. They were babies. I mean, they were young. They were, 5, 6, 7 years old. They were all well under the age of 10 years old when this happened to them and their family. So their lived experience, not 1 or 2 generations or several generations removed, in real time, they experienced this themselves, and you still couldn't get the system to give them the reparations that they deserve.
Oh, that's my birth town, Tulsa, Oklahoma. And Brother Tabbas had a beautiful tribute to the sister you were talking about. It was 100-something on Mother's Day, right on his.
Yeah.
She's the only one left. And does she get any justice? No. But does she still have a dignity? Yes. Is she resilient? Yes. Is she pushed to the margin? Yes. But she's still fighting and smiling. But you're absolutely right. We have to be able to hold our heads up high, straighten our backs up.
Yeah, at all times. I'm trying to find her name right now. I think she also just celebrated a birthday too. I mean, you talking about she is a living testimony.
Oh, absolutely.
Just an absolute living testimony. Oh, here it is. So happy 111th birthday to Mother Viola Fletcher.
That's her. That's the one, Tavis. That's the
Tavis, yeah, okay. And I think she has a book out, I believe, too. Um, but the oldest living survivor of the Tulsa massacre of 1921. And then I put, we will not stop fighting for reparations for the Tulsa massacre and other acts of physical and systemic violence perpetuated against Black Americans. I want everybody to look up Mother Viola Fletcher. She is a shero in our own time. Thank you, Miles. Miles had put it in the chat for me. Take teamwork to make the dream work. Thank you, Brother Miles, for looking out for us. But yeah, Mother Viola Fletcher, 111 years old, just celebrated a birthday a few days ago. It was this month. Absolutely. When we come forward, Dr. West and I will delve into the move, 1985, 40 years later. You're listening to Truth Time.
It's Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
Imagine every pregnant person in LA County having the support they deserve. A doula on every block. Doulas provide emotional, physical, and informational support during pregnancy, through labor, and beyond. Medi-Cal now covers doula care. That means you can get the support you need or train to support families in your community. The LA County Medi-Cal Doula Hub is here to help. Learn more and get started today at ladoulahub.com.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least like to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
KBLA Talk 1580 and the California Black Chamber of Commerce invite you to the Small Business Development Workshop, How to Do Business with California Government, on Thursday, May 15th at Victory Park in Pasadena, 2575 Paloma Street. Get certified and register as a new bidder. Sell products and services to the state. Learn about pre-bid events and more, and it's all free. All you have to do is sign up at www.calbcc.org. That's www.calbcc.org. Registration for the Small Business Development Workshop, How to Do Business with California Government, begins at 9 a.m. and the workshop concludes at 1 p.m. on Thursday, May 15th at Victory Park in Pasadena, 2575 Paloma Street. This is a community call to action from the California Black Chamber of Commerce and KBLA Talk 1580. Truth crushed to earth shall rise again. You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, you are. And we are so glad that you are. So, Doc, I know you were mentioning that Brother Tavis had on one of the family members of the folks who were bombed 1985. It's hard to think that this was only 40 years ago. So we can weave decades ago, centuries ago, with basically on the spectrum of history. This just happened just yesterday. When you look at the continuum of history, this is brand new. 1985 move bombing to be remembered as Philadelphia City Council calls for reflection 40 years later. This reporting is coming from CBS News. So on May 13th, 2025 will mark the 40 years to the day that the move bombing happened, when the Philadelphia Police Department dropped a bomb on the headquarters of the Black Liberation Back to Nature Group's Osage Avenue headquarters. The bomb started a fire that ended up destroying more than 60 row homes in a West Philadelphia neighborhood. 5 children and 6 adults in the move house were killed. All of them had adopted the surname Africa. So, Doc, I know Brother Tavis interviewed. You got a chance to listen in on some of that. So, can you share with us?
Oh yeah, we had the interview with the son. No, I missed the interview because he had a beautiful picture of Viola Fletcher.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. But thank God that Brother Tavis is keeping alive the memory of this atrocity that happened to our brothers and sisters there in Philadelphia. You got to keep in mind, it was under Black leadership. It was Mayor Wilson Good, who later became an evangelical preacher. I think he's wrestling with the guilt of that later on in his life. But it was under Black mayor and Black leadership. They dropped that bomb, and it was what's fascinating is the ways in which bombs were dropped in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921.
Yes, sir.
You remember the Gap Band? He dropped a bomb on me.
Baby. Yes.
There's also some hate bombs going on in Tulsa, see. And so you can see the continuity of authorities, urban authorities, disrespecting and violating the rights and dignities of Black people, and therefore our need to keep all urban authority accountable, no matter who they are. Now, usually it's much, Black authority tends to be better than white authority in the history of the country. We got to be honest about that.
Sure.
About that. But Black authority can be just as cold-hearted and mean-spirited in many instances. And here, of course, it resulted in a crime against humanity. You're killing innocent folk.
Yeah, definitely. And you use the government to do it. You use Black people's tax dollars, and the tax dollars of others, but let me make the point. Black tax dollars to do this to Black people without hesitation.
And you got 3 of the grandest freedom fighters that come out of Philadelphia. We've already mentioned my dear brother Mumi Abu Jamal, who I was blessed to write 2 forewords of his powerful text, but also Pam and Ramona Africa. I mean, those are 2 sisters that I love very deeply. And they have been consistent in their boldness, fearlessness, and willingness to speak out, raise their voices, and sacrifice.
Yeah, and we need that continuously. And many people, we want to recognize that some people joining us today may have never ever heard of what happened in Philadelphia in 1985. Please, we encourage you to go back and listen to Brother Tavis's interview.
Yes.
Got to do that, and to do some research about this atrocity. And it shows how easily the government can be set off to do, or not set off, how easily the government will move in to stop Black people, and why a lot of people right now, Doc, fear, martial law and those kinds of things, and why Black people are kind of moving in a hesitation pattern because those concerns are so strong, especially under this administration. I mean, it can happen under any administration. Obviously, it has happened, but especially this one, the Wolf administration. You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. When we come forward, we'll continue talking about 40 years since 1985, the bombing on the MOVE members.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or play. Stop, opt out. Individual results may vary. Consult a doctor prior to use.
If you've struggled to lose weight in the past, this important message is for you because you could lose as much as 50 pounds or more with Zelfie. Zelfie makes it easy and affordable to get weight loss treatment 100% online. Zelfie providers can prescribe FDA-approved GLP-1 weight loss medications clinically shown to help people lose weight, like Wegovy, Zepbound, and others. Plus, help get the medication covered by insurance, so it's as little as $0 a month.
The doctors are super helpful, and the meds have been a game changer. It's the first program I've had success with. Before Zelfie, I was unable to lose weight, even though I was eating healthy and exercising 6 days a week. Zelfie helped me not only lose weight, but I feel so much better.
Text GOAL to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie and see if weight loss medications like Wegovy or Zepbound are right for you. Don't wait. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text GOAL to 200-300. That's GOAL to 200-300. GOAL to 200-300.
This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
So the council passed a resolution. It was led by Council Member Jamie Guthier, whose district includes the 6200 block of Osage Avenue where the bombing occurred. And then she read off the names of the 11 people killed, adults and children. And, you know, how the city is still dealing with the aftermath. There was a scandal a few years ago about how the remains were handled of some of the members who were killed. So not caring, obviously. And the Africa family has since purchased the original Osage Avenue plot that contained their home and headquarters, which is a beautiful thing. So just cavalierly bombing people's communities. Does that sound familiar? Is there a connection there, Doc?
Isn't that something? Boy, they dropped the bomb in Philly, in Tulsa, in Gaza, in Sudan. It goes on, and at Kashmir, it goes on and on and on, doesn't it?
It does. There is a connection. Dr. King got it exactly right. He's the one that framed it this way, but many brilliant thinkers across the ages, what happens to one directly happens to us all indirectly.
Justice is indivisible.
That's it. And we gotta be able to connect the dots. We have to.
Dots. You're absolutely right.
You always say past is prologue.
Lord, the wind at our back.
You were so right about that, Doc. I remember when you did that it would have been a CD. I'm dating myself. But when you did that spoken word CD, I would love for you to resurrect that. That thing was cold. I don't know how many people had a chance, but I used to listen to that thing almost every day, Doc. I loved it so much. I did.
Steve McKeever put together, of course, Cliff West, my blood brother, and his genius, organized that thing with Brother D and Brother Mike. We had Prince, we had Gerald Levert, we had Rod Digger, we had, oh my God, Talib Kweli. We were working that thing. We really were.
It was beautiful, and it speaks. I mean, it really does. We're gonna have to maybe play a little of that for folks at a certain point. You know, talk about appointed time. There's a time, Ecclesiastic. There's an appointed time for everything. And there's a time for every event under the heaven, a time to birth, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pull up, all of that good stuff. And the time right now, live on purpose, live your purpose, understand your purpose. And above all, understand this. Titles are good, but purpose is better. Until next time.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
A sex crimes trial in New York. His ex, Cassie Ventura, told the jury he abused her during their 10-year relationship. Jurors also saw 2016 footage of Combs assaulting her in a hotel hallway. And a new UC Berkeley poll shows Black Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass's approval has dropped since 2022. Only Black voters and seniors still view her mostly positively. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here